Late one night, the engines were telling each other stories to pass the time. I once knew an engine, Duck started off, who traveled all the way to America. He came back much happier and talked endlessly about it. He said it was nothing like Sodor or the mainland. The engines there were gigantic, and the crowds of people seemed to go on forever. Humph, fumed Thomas. I'd like to go and see the world. Sodor's far too small. Well, I'm not sure about that, Thomas, Duck continued. The engine was traveling for a World's Fair, and I don't think there are many of those anymore. World's Fair or not, I'd still like to travel somewhere other than here, Thomas complained, and fell asleep at once. The next day, Thomas was going along his branch line, but he couldn't stop thinking about seeing the world. Once he reached the station, he overheard a commotion from the station master. Of all the times for Henry to burst a safety valve, it only has to be when there's a special goods due for Barrow. Oh, I do hope James gets here soon. Excuse me, said Thomas innocently, but could I perhaps take charge of the train? I'm the only engine here, as you can see, and I don't have any trains of my own for a while. Well, this train is late enough as it is, the station master replied. And, Thomas carried on, who knows when James will get here? Besides, he'd likely complain about having to pull goods. Well, all right, but be quick, said the station master. Immediately, Thomas backed on the train and started off. He was loving it, coasting along the main line, with the mainland getting closer and closer, with more and more sights he had never seen before. At last, he pulled into the final station, eagerly looking around at the activities surrounding him. And just where do you think you're going? Came a voice. Thomas jumped and slowly pointed his view to a very frustrated Sir Topham Hatt standing at the platform. James was the one scheduled for this train, so how is it your business pulling it? He bellowed. Thomas blushed and looked down at the rails. He had nothing to say in his defense. Now then, when you return home, I expect you to run your branch line, and only your branch line. My railway's not very efficient when engines go off for unexpected sightseeing. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir, Thomas said timidly, and puffed back home. Thomas doesn't speak much of traveling the world now. He finds it rather irrelevant, and would much rather prefer the humble company of his branch line instead.